In this video, we're going to be talking about a brand that used to be hugely popular on the tour and in local consumer markets, but has fallen off and they're trying to make a comeback. That company is called Lynx, and we'll be talking about their new driver called the Prowler VT. Let's go butts around.
Hit the ball!
Hey guys, David Folk here. On this channel we do instructional videos and golf gear videos just like this one. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. So I'm on my way to a meeting, and while we're driving, I just want to have a conversation with you guys about the new Prowler VT from Lynx Golf. And if you guys are familiar with them at all, they were hugely popular in the 70s and 80s. A lot of pros were actually using them. And they've fallen off over the years. They got into box sets, and basically that's pretty much what they're famous for. As of right now, if you've ever heard of them, they're trying to make a comeback in the more premium brand market, kind of like TaylorMade and Titleist and all them, with new technologies and just trying to recreate the brand. They're obviously more popular and going to be in Europe because that's where they're stationed right now, versus the United States here, which maybe or maybe not you've actually heard of them. The Club Pro guy, he used to be a Lynx sponsored player, which it's pretty funny. I enjoy very much watching him and following him. So you guys want to follow him, definitely recommend it. It's very entertaining. And so he has like this big X on his bag because he's too cheap to go up. Anyway, it's fun. Go follow him, Club Pro guy, on Instagram and Twitter. So talking about their new driver, this is going to be called the Prowler VT. And before we get into all the cool hip technology specs about it, I'm going to save the price for later, actually. I'm going to wait for that to really allow you to just enjoy and marinate on all the features that this new driver has, and then we'll talk about whether or not it's worth the value. The features that it has, it's basically a 460cc driver, but the uniqueness about it is that you can literally take your face off. You can take the face off of the driver and put a new one on, which reminds me of Face Off with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, which by the way is a great movie. And the idea behind this technology is going to be making sure you have the accurate and best launch angle as possible without manipulating lie angle and or opening or closing the path or the face with your hosel adjustments. Adjustable drivers are going to have a dynamic loft adjustment, right? You can adjust it 2 degrees up or 2 degrees down, or whoever, if you look at Nike, they had like a 7-degree range between 7.5 and 12 or something. I don't know, something crazy like that. So that's going to be all dynamic loft, and then you also have dynamic face adjustments as well. As you move it in TaylorMade down, it opens the face dynamically, and as you move the loft up in TaylorMade, it shuts the face. It's all dynamic loft, right? So what they're suggesting is that may not be the best fit for everybody, and so they've basically created a driver that has screws in the face, so kind of like screw face, but what they've been able to do is to actually take off the face of the driver and put a new one on. So let's say you're playing a 10.5 and you made some swing adjustments, and you find that the 10.5 launches the ball too high. Now you want to have it launch a little lower, so you can go out and buy a 9-degree face and then screw it onto your driver, and therefore you have a 9-degree driver. In theory, it makes sense, right? In theory, you're no longer being required to adapt to a dynamic glide, dynamic loft, dynamic, open or shut face. Everything sits square, and you're just changing the actual loft of the club, which sounds pretty good in theory. However, the cost of this lovely golf club, this theoretical golf club that is made by Lynx, which I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say tolerances are great. I don't think you're going to have any issues. It's when you hit it on the screws, there's not going to be breakage or whatever. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's go that way. The cost of this driver is going to be roughly $550. $550 from Lynx, a brand that really no one's heard of in 30 years. And best part yet, if you decide you want a 10.5 degree face, but you've worked on your swing and you move down to that 9 degree face, the faces themselves cost $120 per face. So if you're not happy with what you have, you can switch it out. Great. But it's going to cost you $120 for a new face. You're looking at $670 for a Lynx driver. Now, I appreciate their idea, right? They're trying to think outside the box. They don't want to be like everybody else and have the same technologies as everybody else. They want to, you know, they're not necessarily thinking they're going to sell hundreds of thousands of drivers. You know, I personally think if they sell 1,000, it'll be a great victory and success. But you look at the club itself, and I see potential. I do see potential. I'm a bit surprised when you take off the face that they didn't think of other things that you could do with it, right? When you look at the M5 and you look at other drivers out there, you can see that there's adjustments on the bottom, on the sole of the club. You can see that there's adjustments on the perimeter of the club. I'm surprised that they didn't do something to be able to manipulate the center of gravity, the MOI, movable weights, inside the actual club head. That, to me, you have the visible technology, right? The face being able to pulled off and switched. But to me, to take it one step further, especially if you're trying to downplay the adjustable hosel idea, you could have totally added some weights inside the actual head to make sure that you could have an adjustment for the CG or adjustment for the MOI and basically manipulate what's going on inside the club, which gives you a lot more cubic inches of room or cubic centimeters of room than around or on the sole of the club. Like, I think that would be super interesting and gain a lot of interest from people who not only you can take a face off, but also manipulate the internal components to even more fine-tune where the CG is and the MOI and all that good stuff. Like, that to me sounds very interesting. So I'm surprised that they didn't think about that. And it may be a cost factor. It may have been one of those that they didn't think about it, or it cost too much to try and do multiple new technologies at once, which, speaking of new tech, it's not new technology, right? If you look at the tailor-made wedges that came out, I can't remember what they're called. You could take the face off of the wedge and put a new face on and screw it on the back, so you have the wedges, which I think felt pretty good for a wedge. I was pretty impressed with how well those did. I'm sure TaylorMade is very excited that didn't catch on, because the faces were only like $30 and the wedges themselves cost $120. So they may have lost market share in terms of purchasing new wedges, because they can just replace the face. I imagine they're actually pretty happy that didn't take effect. I look at what Lynx was trying to do, and I appreciate the idea. I appreciate the goal behind it. It makes sense to try something new, and obviously it worked, because it's being talked about more so than anything else Lynx has made. So that's a benefit to them. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about the Lynx Prowler VT driver. Do you see yourself ever considering using it, and you'd be okay with playing something from Lynx? Post those comments down below. What do you think of the opportunity to adjust something inside the club face versus like the M5, where it's just around the perimeter, on the sole, that kind of stuff? Look forward to hearing those comments down below. And of course, guys, while you're down there, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, because YouTube likes that. Thanks for watching, and we'll chat with you next time.